What would be your best 5 moments as a sports journalist?
Again, it was just a special moment that probably lived with me for my career, and it's only
Did you,
three on the list.
recently when Khabib Nurmagomedov came to the UK, but I remember you were spending time and you were interviewing him as well. Was that correct?
Yeah, so he was up for the Everton game
Mm.
when Andros Townsend rather cheekily did a Sioux celebration in front of fans. So yeah, he was up for the game, and then I went down to London to speak to him at one of the events they were organised by SKT Welfare Charity. So yeah, that was a great time to spend with him, and just him speaking about he's the sort of the role model that we should aspire to look up to as Muslim journalists. Someone so prominent that not afraid to hide that he's a Muslim and that he prays and all the good stuff that he does.
Definitely.
So it's good to spend time with him and see him in person. He's really really engaging person, really funny, and he was that was one of the ticked off the bucket list as for my career. That
I wanted to ask you, Shamoon, and I think Salim will ask you as well. Your top 5 moments as a football journalist or as a sports journalist, as you've now reworded it for us as well.
you reminded me of the Khabib one. That wasn't even on my list. So that just shows that how much.
Going to be a good list then if that's not on it.
In 10 years, in 11 years that I've worked in there, I've I've had the chance to do some amazing work. So growing up watching snooker, playing snooker, we used to go down to the club like 3-4 times a week. I had covering Ronnie O'Sullivan in the World Championship, seeing him lift record UK titles, Masters titles in person, and then just as one of my sporting icons, being able to interview him, doing lots of one-on-ones with him. That's number 5 on my list.
How was Ronnie O'Sullivan for you, Shamoon?
He is a complex character. He has good days and bad days. So as a sports journalist interviewing him, you don't know what sort of mode he's going to be in. So, but one thing that he'll do is he'll always give you a story.
Fantastic. So that's number 5. What have we got at number 4, Shamoon?
Covering games during lockdown. I was really in a privileged position to be in the grounds when no one else was. So, particularly being at Old Trafford, like empty ground, it's just us journalists in there. I really felt it that this is special, and this is sort of we were in the midst of the pandemic, but sport was still going on in deep lockdown, and so it was quite surreal, because it felt like a training session where you could hear every single thing that the players were saying, the coaches giving tactical instructions from the sideline, and you wouldn't usually get that during the match. One match that I went to was the Leipzig 5-0 win. And that was just in the week where Rashford's all the government's meal stuff had kicked off, and he'd scored a hat-trick in that game. I think it came
off the bench, wasn't it?
Yeah, off the bench, yeah. So did a really good colour piece afterwards, linking him, feeding kids and feeding the goals type. I don't know, some cheesy
making
like
a
that.
pun.
Making a pun. Yeah, something cheesy like that.
Number 3, what have you got for us, Shamoon?
We've got England reaching the final of the Euros. So I was doing the semi-final match against Denmark, and just a number of messages I got afterwards about what a historic moment, and people were saying stuff like I was one of the first internet pundits to put England men's have reached a Euros final, which had never happened before, and the last major final they reached was in 1966. So such a big moment that I got to cover, and the million of page views that we had for that. And again, it was just a special moment that probably live with me for my career. And it's only
Did
3 on the list.
Did you print that out as well? Did you frame it?
No, I didn't print it out, but
Oh man,
yeah, I have got it screenshotted. I've got it saved, tucked away in my
nice.
work portfolio.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what you got at number 2 now.
Number 2 is I've got spending 2 days with Sonny Bill Williams. So
Wow.
he signed for Toronto, but it was sort of weird where a Toronto-based club were actually based in Manchester. So he was here. He came in to the offices to do a 5 Live interview. So I spent time with him there.
Mm-hmm.
Then he did like a half an hour special for the iPlayer. So sat in on that with him. And then the following day he was doing a presser in London. So I went down to that. I was with him again all day there. We prayed namaz together with him and his people. And then just speaking to him about that piece almost got 1 million views, and Mufti Menk shared it as well.
Oh my god!
So you had huge,
like the Muslim Avengers just assembled right there as well. Sonny Bill Williams and Mufti Menk as well, which is crazy, incredible.
So it sort of went viral because loads of people were quoting what he'd said.
But if that's number 2, I want to know what's number 1. I mean, what have you got?
Number one had to be a football one. 4 days I spent in Istanbul, a weekend where 4 of their teams were playing each other. So on the Saturday there was a Besiktas v Istanbul Başakşehir, who were the big rising power, sort of rumoured to be backed by Erdogan, looking to shake up the establishment in Turkish football. They were on one day, and the next day was the huge clash between Fenerbahce and Galatasaray. So I went over to both games. On the Saturday, I spent time with the Besiktas fans, sort of in their district of Çarşı, where you can just imagine black and white shirts everywhere in the narrow streets, singing, dancing, chanting, going crazy before facing one of their rivals. And then the next day I spent with the Fenerbahce fans in their streets. They were just some crazy guys, and they're all Muslims, so I didn't feel sort of threatened, or I didn't feel I was intimidated anyway. I could speak to whoever I wanted to. Those pictures were amazing, because they were on the Bosphorus. They had yachts out to celebrate, and it's just pictures were amazing. So spending time with them, and just wanted to do a piece on where the sort of narrative that Turkish fans are thugs and unapproachable and sort of violent and all that, whether that's true or not. But from my experience, it's not what I experienced. And I did ask a few of them about that if there's this image of you guys, what do you think of it? And they said what you see is Liverpool came over. He said the Besiktas fan told me that Liverpool came over and we got on fine because they respected us, respected our culture, respected our flag, respected who we are. So we had no problems with that. We were drinking with them all day and went to a match together and all that. But what the trouble happens is when people come here and they disrespect us, and maybe they want to pick a fight. So if they want to pick a fight with us, we're not going to back down. That was their view. So that's when the trouble happens, and then obviously we only hear one side of the story.
But then it's like people like you who are there on reporting duty that would tell both sides of the story, wouldn't it be?
Not many. I don't think many journalists will have had the opportunity to do that and go in there and spending time with them. And that was just amazing. And if inshallah I get to the World Cup this year, then that'll probably leapfrog to the top of the list.